You have a right to have perfect clarity on an agreement before going in for signing it. To have complete clarity on each and every word of the agreement. And if you don't have a complete understanding or you are not completely in sync with it, even if there is only one line which you say should not, be there, then it's not an agreement. You are backing out of it, and with no cost. They can't start imposing costs on you.
And what they do is in that agreement, they take away all my rights. They say I will not raise objection to this, to that. There are hundreds of things which we can get into actually in that. But, I'll just say very delicately that they take away all my rights that apparently now I realize RERA gives me.
Yes. And, and before RERA came along, the Indian Contract Act in English, they made a specific law. But the same conclusion could have been reached to Contract Act also. Agreement. The very meaning of the word agreement is that each and every word of it, you are in sync and the opposite party is in sync.
Correct.
So if you are not in agreement, if you are not in sync with each and every word, you can say, look, sorry, it is 99.99% fine, but that 1%, no, I do not accept this. Either you change it or I don't want it. This is your right. The law gives you the right. The Constitution gives you the right. Now, these guys try to take away that right from you and say, no, we will not change a word or a dot or a comma or a full stop. We will not change. Well, if you don't change, then there isn't an agreement. If it's not an agreement, give me back my money. Either you're married or you're not. It's a TikTok switch, on and off. One can go to the marriage mandap right before the Varmala exchange or the Sat Feras or something. You say, family says, stop. I don't get the right feel. I'm out. Agreement hone ka tha, nahi hua. So, either your agreement happens or it doesn't happen. The agreement does not happen means, okay, give me back my money. That's it.
Correct.
That's it. That's the default position. Now, these guys have gone and changed the default position. The moment you give the token, roka ceremony kar liya to shadi kar liya. Muh dikhai or engagement or whatever they call it. Sagai.
Yeah.
Shadi ho gaya. Sagai is not shadi. Nothing is shadi. Only shadi is shadi. So only agreement is agreement. Nothing prior to agreement is agreement.
Mentally, I was so affected, I was not able to concentrate on my job. Ki yaar, 14 lakh mera, it is my life savings. I told them, please refund kar do. I tried my best to, come to a agreement with you guys, discuss karke. But abhi kuch bacha hi nahi hai. You are not ready to give me a proper resolution. And kuch trust baki bacha nahi hai. So please refund me my amount. I was told in November that 24 December को stamp duty चालान expire हो रहा है, तो आप उससे पहले register कर लो. So I told them कि बाबा, let us discuss, let us come to a mutual agreement on the points. 23rd December they sent me an email saying that आपने refund मांगा, तो आपको cancellation चाहिए, इसका मतलब तो हम cancel कर रहे हैं. And in the cancellation letter, they said, this is the forfeited amount of 10%. उसपे ये GST, SGST, CGST, there is some third GST on it, and there is some interest on non-payment of the second installment that they've added. And करके they gave me a bill of around 4 lakhs कि अभी ये cancellation कर रहे हैं हम लोग and you owe me 4+ lakhs.
They said they are going to give you or?
No, I have to give them 4 lakhs.
Oh, so you cancel, they're going to take away all that amount. They're going to take away 14 lakhs and then you have to give them a further 4 lakhs.
Correct. नहीं, but वो 4 लाख क्यों लेने का ना हम लोग को? भाई
क्यों देने का? I totally agree. कुछ नहीं देने का. पूरा everything should come back to you. And this whole idea of you have to give them a further amount is extortionate, unreasonable, unlawful. It's just ridiculous.
So they've asked me to pay them 3,52,921 rupees.
Ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. Jagda karke lena padega. Now the law is on your side. There are RERA orders. Okay, let me just read you that RERA order. I'm very fond of sending this RERA order and this appellate authority order. So the order says, there is no provision in the Act to forfeit the booking amount or a part thereof in case the parties do not sign the agreement. If the parties fail to sign the agreement, the entire money paid by the allottees, including the booking amount, has to be returned to them without any interest.
Okay.
And here's what the appellate authority says.
Hmm.
Allottees cannot be restrained from exercising their right of withdrawing the request. It cannot be ignored that agreement for sale between allottees and promoters has not yet taken place yet. The only document signed by the allottees is the printed form which is styled as request for reservation. So at the time of making request for reservation of the flat on the part of allottees, promoter obtained the signature of allottees on such form of request, which consists of 33 different terms and conditions to be observed and complied by allottees only. In this case, there were 33. I don't know how many are there in your case.
There are 43 for mine.
Okay. So, these terms and conditions are to be observed and complied by allottees only. As per clause 17, allottees have no right to withdraw their request for reservation. This is absolutely unfair and unreasonable and one-sided condition imposed on the allottees. It says, allottees cannot be restrained from exercising their right of withdrawing the request. Right to make request for reservation of flat includes the right to withdraw such request for reservation of flat. Clause 17 providing forfeiture of 10% amount of the total price of flat or the amount paid till date, whichever is less in case of withdrawal by allottees, is unreasonable, unfair and inequitable. Existence of such a condition in the printed form of request for reservation to be filed by allottees is against the object and purpose of RERA. In fact, clause 17, which is that offending clause in the application form. In fact, clause 17 being against the statute of RERA is not binding on the parties. So promoter is not entitled to forfeit any amount as per clause 17 of request form, assuming for the sake of argument that the transaction between allottees and promoters is revealed from request form. See, what these guys try to say is, transaction has already happened. Their excuse for taking away your money is, transaction has already happened. You have to lose your money. Now, what the order argues is, assuming for the sake of argument that transaction between allottees and promoter is revealed from request form, which it is not. But suppose it is revealed. We would like to point out that such unreasonable and unfair transaction cannot be enforced. It quotes a Supreme Court order, a Supreme Court judgment, Pioneer Urban Land and Infrastructure versus Govindan Raghavan. It says that court will not enforce an unreasonable, unfair contract or an unreasonable, unfair clause in a contract where contracting parties are not equal in bargaining power and where a man has no choice, or rather a meaningful choice, but to give his assent to a contract or to sign on the dotted line in a prescribed or standard form. You have not written down that so-called application.
Correct. If I had the choice, I mean,
you would never
I would have like,
you would never write these words. They have made you sign and they have given you a prefabricated, a pre-drafted document and they said sign there. You are not having any bargaining power at that point in time. So what they are saying is, see, they say in the instant clause while applying for the flat, allottees had no choice but to sign the printed form of request prepared one-sided by the promoter. The promoter cannot take undue advantage of such one-sided and unreasonable condition. Now, I'll give you one more thing. For it to be any kind of a transaction, it has to be signed on both sides. On your side, you have signed. On their side, is it signed by a sales representative?
It is signed by their sales manager, yes.
A sales manager is not an authorized representative of the company. For it to be a contract, the deal is not between you and the sales guys. The deal is between you and a company, a corporate person, and therefore the corporate person's authorized representative has to sign. Authorized representative means that person has to be authorized by the board of directors expressly that this guy will sign on our behalf. Then it has some hope of being a contract. Even then it is not a contract. Even the barest minimum elements of contract is not there. Okay, now I'll tell you one more thing. I've not seen your application form, but I'm guessing that it's on their letterhead.
Yes, it is on their letterhead. Atmosphere
Now,
is
if you, Komal Ved, you are making an application to this company,
yeah.
then will it be on your letterhead or will it be on their letterhead?
Yeah.
If you are making an application, if you are writing a letter saying, on my bended knees, I request you to please give me a flat. If you were to do that and you were to write this abject application, would it be on your letterhead or their letterhead?
Yeah, if I'm putting an application, it will be under my
On your letterhead. So why is it on their letterhead?
I don't know.
So for multiple reasons, I mean, it is bad in law. It is a fraudulent document. So, and RERA has been super clear on it. So they said whatever amount. So what is the final word of RERA? The RERA appellate authority in this. So whatever amount is paid by the home buyer to the promoter should be refunded on his withdrawal from the project. Finished. Finished. That's it.
Hi, Krishnaraj. I'm Komal speaking. I got your reference from the YouTube videos that I saw while I was searching for, issues on one of my bookings.
Okay, Komal. Hi.
Hi. On 1st April, I booked a flat in Atmosphere.
Atmosphere is where?
Atmosphere is in Mulund, and it's on the Mulund-Goregaon link road. It's very close to Nahur railway station.
Okay. And who's the builder?
The builder is Wadhwa.
Okay.
Wadhwa being a renowned name, and they had already, delivered the Atmosphere Phase 1.
There's something called Atmosphere O2. Is it the same thing?
Correct. This is exactly in Atmosphere O2 in a tower called Azure. So, April, what we did was we went and booked a flat with them. We'd gone with the mindset of booking a flat. So,
you and your husband?
My mother, my brother, and I had gone down.
Okay.
So I am single. I'm not married.
Okay.
We had gone there to buy a flat because currently we are staying in a 1 BHK. First of all, our inclination was to buy a ready-to-move-in flat, which they said it was available. But then, when we went there, it was like it is sold off already. So you may want to buy in the construction phase.
Did they advertise something as ready to move?
We were told on calls that there are units on ready to move in the previous phase, in the phase 1. Okay.
Because this is a kind of a favorite strategy. They call you in to see ready to move. I'm not saying specific to Wadhwa. In general, channel partners, etc., will call you to see a ready to move. And then when you land up there, they will say, yes, but we don't either they will say we don't have enough inventory, or they will say, but why don't you look at this because it's a better deal. And they will offer you under construction. Yeah,
so they said that the unit was sold off. We were like, we want to go ahead and buy it. And both of us, have very recently come out of education loans. And so we were like, Mulund is a good place. First of all, what we did was we negotiated on a price. Which they said that if you give me payment today, booking amount today, then only this price is valid.
Okay. What was the price?
It was somewhere around 1.37 CR. This is the agreement value.
Okay.
So,
and what is the area?
It was around 600 square feet.
Yeah. By the way, when did this happen? Which month?
So this happened on April 1st, 2021. The salesperson negotiated on that agreement value in the cost sheet. They took a smaller swipe, one swipe of 1 lakh rupees on the same day, and they told me to write off 3 more checks. And the total of these 4 transactions amounted to 14 lakh.
Oh.
14 lakh plus. So they took 7 lakh, 5 lakh 48,000 and 1 lakh. And that's how they took the money. 68,000 which amount they attributed to the GST.
Okay.
There was no, scope to, not trust them because there were 3 towers from the phase 1 already standing there.
Okay.
Yes. And in fact, they also said that there is no inventory left. I told you, we actually went in to buy
that need not necessarily be a truth. See, if a builder, a sales guy wants to sell you item B.
Yeah.
he will say he has no more item A left. Now, that may not be a fact. He may just be saying it. Now, suppose you walked out and you said, no, I only want item A, and started walking out. Maybe he will say, wait, we have one which is management quota, but let me see if I can free it up for you. Then he goes inside and comes back and says, good news. We got 2 inventories you can choose from. Cancellation just came in. They can say all these kinds of things. So basically it could well be, I'm not saying that it is, but it could well be that they actually had some inventory and they didn't want to sell it because they had other plans.
That is quite a possibility. I think I went there in a very naive mental state where I believed everything that they said. We put blind faith in the brand name and we gave them the 14,17,000 rupees.
And how long were you there at sales office?
Hour or two.
Okay, in a couple of hours you had made your financial decision.
We made that decision. We came back very happy, saying that okay, our house, deal is sorted and we don't have to worry about a home anymore. But then unfortunately, there was a medical emergency at my place in the April 2nd. 6 days after that. So my brother and my mother both contracted COVID. Yeah.
Okay.
So that phase went, and then suddenly, in May, 19th May, I received an invoice. So invoices were received, 50 days after making the payments to them.
You mean a receipt or you mean an invoice?
Receipt. I received receipts.
Okay.
So after this happened, I think I followed up with them saying that, I want to register the agreement by July because July end was when our offices were supposed to reopen and I was to move to Bangalore.
Who's paying for the purchase?
I am paying. So initially, I think we bought this in the name of my father, my brother and I joined because we thought of jointly financing this, my brother and I. But then, banks don't give a loan to a joint sibling, brother-sister property purchase.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah.
I wonder why that is. That's interesting. Okay, maybe because it can lead to a financial family dispute or something, is it?
Correct. Brother they give, but anywhere if you have a sister involved, they don't give.
Is it? Strange.
So we got the name changed, and because, I earn a little more than him, we said since my eligibility will be higher, I'll take it on my name. So we requested them to change the name to my mother and I. Meanwhile, before even doing that, I've been constantly following up with them on the draft agreement. I had not seen a draft agreement ever, and I told them that I want to register this in July, and before that, I want to go through the draft agreement and then only go ahead and make any further payments. They did not really. They kept saying that we are preparing the draft. We'll share it with you. Never shared it.
And after they would prepare the draft.
They were in the process of preparing the draft.
That's a bit funny. Usually it's there on RERA actually.
I wasn't aware of that and they didn't tell me.
It is usually uploaded on RERA along with the allotment letter format.
I came to know about it a little too late in the transaction, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they should have told you in any case if it was there and they kept saying that we are drafting it.
Yeah.
That's funny because how do you sell so many flats and yet not have a draft ready?
This happened, I kept following up for the draft agreement, which they finally gave me at the end of first week of August. August 6th is when I received the draft agreement. And I told you, right, I requested for a name change. So they told me they'll make the name changes and share the agreement, but the agreement still came in, the 3 names originally given to them.
Oh.
So that was the first thing that I took note of.
Agreement, they did not even have bothered with the names and all that. They could have just sent you the agreement without all the names. What happened next?
Yeah, this happened. I told them immediately that please correct the names. So on the same day, they corrected the names and gave the draft agreement to me. And I took my time to read it. This draft agreement is pretty long, 100 odd pages, and a lot of legalities involved. So when I went through reading it, I think I took at least 3 to 4 readings to even understand it, and it takes a lot of time. I'm a working person. While reading it, in the first few pages only, I figured that there were some dicey points which I required more resolution or more clarity on, and some changes required to be done.
Some questions, right?
I raised some questions on it. I had some questions on it which I asked the RM, So I took
RM
my
is relationship manager.
Again,
Not really the right person, if you ask me. The reason is, see, an RM is a people person. He's not specialized in any sense on the law. If your queries are about the agreement, then it should be escalated to the legal chaps. The RM is like a PRO. At his best, he is like a public relations guy. At his worst, he's a guy who just sucks up all your energy and gives you nothing in return. He tries not to answer questions.
That is what has happened in my case.
He creates a lot of white noise.
Yes.
He will talk and make all kind of sounds and generally hope that you will drop the query. You should say, please escalate to legal. You should kind of be very firm on, listen, this is I'm asking about clauses of the agreement. Therefore, it's legal matter. Therefore, escalate to legal, please. I mean, you need not necessarily know all that. But they should have said, we will escalate to legal.
Yeah.
And they will answer your query.
So what happened then was I took my time, and in between there were some personal issues also which cropped up. So it took a little longer for me to get back to them. So September is when I received a mail from him saying that he has already made my stamp duty payments, and there is a expiry.
Wait. You raised the query which month?
I did not raise a query. I told him I have queries and I need some time to table them.
You told him
in August only I told him this.
So April you had already made the payment. May, June, July, August you told him.
4 months later I got the draft agreement. I received it. I told him that there are some questions that I have on the agreement. So August I informed him that I'm having queries and I need to reach out to someone. He said whenever it is ready I should reach out to him. So September I received a reminder email from him saying that they're waiting for action on your end to register the agreement. We have already paid stamp duty on your behalf and there is an expiry date to the stamp duty. If you delay it further it will expire.
So they were not interested in answering your queries. They just wanted you to sign on the dotted line, pay the stamp duty.
Yes, all through it has been very much like that. They just want me to sign it and forget it.
By the way, have you seen it's a somewhat dirty sounding post called gangbang or agreement or something like that, which I made sometime last year. I think it's 2020 or 2019 I made it. Basically, it was about a Wadhwa agreement. The thing about the Wadhwa agreement is it introduces parties. You see, an agreement is like a marriage. There are only two parties, the buyer and the seller. So the agreement should say, I am going to do this, you are going to do this.
Correct.
It should not say, I am going to do this, you are going to do this, and a third party whom I am going to engage is going to do this, and another third party whom you will engage will do this, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Because then that goes outside the sanctity of marriage. So this becomes a bit like, I think I compared it with Draupadi's marriage, that Arjun will do this and Bhim will do this and Yudhishthir will do this. So basically it's not at all an agreement. And I don't recall which Wadhwa agreement I had studied, but I recall that it was just full of outside parties.
Okay.
We are going to engage some guy and he's going to do this, and then you're going to pay him 10% escalation to maintain the club. Every year he will escalate by 10%. Boss, how are you saying it?
No, this is there in their clause for
this. You've seen that?
You've seen also. I've not seen your video, but in my agreement also this is there.
This kind of extraneous
these elements. I think they have given for everything they have said that they can hire a third party to manage it and they will charge for it and all those nuisances.
So that is not an agreement. An agreement is very strict. I will do this, you will do this. I will do this, you will do this. That's it. That's the agreement. There are only two parties in the agreement. You don't introduce second party, third party, fourth party into it.
Yeah, so there are a lot of parties there which they said that we can involve and you provide your irrevocable consent to it. Yeah, so there are a lot of
like going into a marriage saying that listen, but I am going to bring in my girlfriend every Friday night. You don't do that. You can't do that.
So there is not just this thing about bringing a third person. You said, right, we talked about the land issue. So we were told that the land title is clear and all of that, but now I figure that there are 3 litigations already going on the ownership of the land. So there are hierarchical cases going on the land. So all this made us very, very nervous because what we were told was the land title is clear, conveyance will be done, and then agreement may they edit in. Conveyance bhi ho sakta hai, lease bhi ho sakta hai, kuch bhi. We will decide whenever, when that.
So you had misgivings about the agreement. Long story short, you had misgivings about the agreement which you communicated to them.
Which I communicated to them
on email or just on phone?
On email, I told them that I have some issues, and I will talk to you about those issues very soon.
And they did not give you resolution on those, but they said
I have not given them in details of that, so I cannot say they did not.
So they didn't even ask for the details. They just said come and sign the agreement or else.
Yeah, they didn't ask for details. Yeah.
So they're like, boss, just come and sign the agreement.
Correct. So their what they said was we waited for you. You come and sign the agreement. Yeah, okay. And the major thing was I had never consented them to pay stamp duty on my behalf. They paid it, and suddenly in September they are telling me we paid it.
Oh, acha, okay. They deposited it.
They deposited, and suddenly in September they told me we paid it. I told them I did not give you consent. Why did you do it?
Right.
I wanted to register this in July. You did not heed to that timeline. I never gave you consent to pay stamp duty. You did that. So these are all a lot of red flags for me. I'm not comfortable with all of this. And the agreement itself has a lot of issues in its entirety. Then I told them that this is not correct, and you please refund me my amount. I don't feel comfortable doing this.
Okay.
So in September only I told them, please refund me my amount. And when I told this, suddenly our relationship manager, Ms. Roshni. So my relationship manager was Hardik. His manager is Roshni. She came in the picture and she said that, we paid the stamp duty way back in June only. And it has an expiry date to it. And she said you should immediately come to Mumbai and get it registered. So they tried to portray as if the stamp duty is expiring in the month of October.
If it's not registered, then that's gone. It's gone.
That's gone, and you will have to pay us those 6 lakh plus the amount that we have paid. Yeah. And I told them that, I never consented. And second thing is...
that's their fault. If it's gone, it cannot be your fault then. It's their fault.
What I also figured was stamp duty is a refundable instrument.
But provided you get back within those 6 months.
Exactly. And the validity is 6 months. What they did was they portrayed as if I should get it registered in October, otherwise it is going to lapse, which was like 4 months validity.
So they misinformed.
Pressure tactics.
Misinforming you and exerting pressure on you.
Correct. So I became a little more cautious and I said, you please refund my money. They clearly said that, we will not refund, we will forfeit. And over and above that, you'll have to pay us those 6 lakh plus which we paid for stamp duty. I kept following up on that refund. No emails received, nothing at all. Suddenly, end of September,
did they send you a written communication saying your thing will lapse in October and all that?
They didn't directly say it will lapse in October. They made an impression like that. Say, you come in October and register it, otherwise you'll lose it. Yeah. So I figured all that out and I told them, validity 6 months, please take the refund because anyways you have paid it in the wrong name. They actually paid it in the initial 3 names.
Oh, okay. They did that also. Yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
it's wrong. So then they have to in any case take it back.
Exactly. I told them this only, irrespective of whatever happens with this, you have to anyway refund it because even if we are registering, this will not be valid. The names are not right.
Yeah, because how do they deposit the money until they know whose names you want to have the agreement in? Exactly. Okay. Anyway, so they did that. Then? Yeah.
Suddenly, end of September, I receive a demand saying that, the plinth is complete. The second demand is going to be ready. And I reverted that my agreement is not yet registered. I cannot pay you more than 10%.
And that amounts to an unlawful demand.
Yeah.
See, if you are demanding more than 10%, you have already taken more than 10%. Now, if you are demanding a further amount without signing an agreement, it's an unlawful demand. You may say, I have an intention to sign an agreement. Intention to sign and actually signing are different.
It's different, exactly.
So they can't say, no, now you are supposed to sign, therefore now you pay the money instead of just, that's an unlawful demand. It is an extortionate demand because you make an unlawful demand while making a person afraid that he is going to suffer a loss.
Yeah.
And you create a situation where the person may suffer a loss. So then you got extortion, negligence, you got a whole bunch of things. You paid deposited the stamp duty without consulting, or you say you did, maybe you didn't, maybe you're only saying it.
Yeah, they had not provided me a receipt. They provided me a receipt only when I asked them for giving me a refund. No, they gave me a receipt only when I asked for a refund. Yeah.
Did they give you a receipt that enables you to go and get your stamp duty amount back?
Get my stamp duty what?
Amount back.
I did not pay it, right? They paid it. I was not sure if I can go and get it back.
Of course you can. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
They paid it out of the money you paid, na?
Yeah.
They paid it out of the money you paid. They didn't pay it out of the money their papa gave them. Or their investors gave them. They are paying it out of the money you paid them. That is their loss. If at all there is a loss, it is their loss. The reason is, Stamp Act casts the duty of paying stamp duty on the buyer. How are they paying the stamp duty? So you are the one who should be paying stamp duty. How did they pay it?
I have no idea. They just told me suddenly that we have paid stamp duty. We never discussed paying stamp duty before that, and they say that you followed up on paying stamp duty. Like, I never did that. Yeah.
And without authorization and all that, it's their fault.
So I told them, okay, I will go ahead. I will register the agreement and I will send you the list of issues that I had. But I will register the agreement only after the issues are resolved. So I think October 1st week is when I gave them all these concerns, a part of my concerns, because that first mail also was very huge. Gave them all these details and there was no reply from their side. Whole of October, I think I have received 6 to 8 reminders for paying the demand. No communication on my issues and concerns raised. On one fine day.
So basically, it is a bit like an abusive relationship where they don't address your legit concerns. And they say, the only way you can have this relationship with me is if you buy me stuff.
It has been always like that with them because
pay me. If you pay me, as long as you pay me, I'm happy.
Right.
Buy me stuff. Give me, so like one of those princessy, high maintenance, bride from hell kind of a person. Usually it's more female stereotype. Usually, buy me Gucci, buy me Jimmy Choo shoes. That kind of thing. As long as you're buying me stuff, it's a good relationship. So it's this way. You pay me, things will be fine. The moment you raise a question and you start doing other things, boss, you are done. Chalo, bye.
Kind of वैसा ही हुआ because first day when they asked me to pay, I paid them पूरा 10%. उसके बाद they were out of sight. And then suddenly they came back saying, ये लो, fine. I told them, I requested them, मेरे को जुलाई तक करना है. No heed at all to whatever my requests were and whatever my requirements were. So it is basically, they are deciding how this goes forward, and my situations, my concerns, my sensibilities have no really stand in front of them. If I am busy at work, it does not matter to them. Something needs to get done, Tabi. They want Tabi.
The entire building industry has adopted many of these practices, which very closely resemble the Nigerian scams. Nigerian scam, basically you keep paying. The one, I'm Mrs. Nelson Mandela and I want to give you $10 million. Something along. My husband left a huge fortune and I want to share it with the poor of the world, and I think you're a lovely person and I want to send you a bunch of money, but first you got to pay me something. When you pay that something, you may pay a small amount of something, like say $2,000. Then next demand will be $25,000. Next demand will be 2.5 lakhs. And then if you raise any question, no, you are delaying, you are causing disruption, it will not happen, be careful, you'll lose the whole money. So you're supposed to keep going because you are afraid of losing money. Now this is a classic Nigerian scam way of doing things.
Yeah.
It's the whole real estate industry, of course.
Yeah.
It's not just Wadhwa. Not just Wadhwa.
Got it. But so after this all things happened, and accidentally, I had already asked Miss Roshni to escalate my case to her seniors because she was not able to provide me a resolution. So she did not even reply to that. Then suddenly, on one of my reverts to them, standard reverts to them, telling them that I cannot heed to your demand because it is illegal under RERA. I will not be able to pay. Please resolve my issues so that we can register the draft and then I can pay you.
So you send them an email like that?
I sent on every demand email that I received from them, I have reverted saying that I cannot pay this because my agreement is not registered. I have sent some issues to you. Please resolve them so that we can register the agreement and then we can pay.
That's good.
So this is what I have replied to them.
They can't make you sign at gunpoint. They can't say
sign kiye bina they were asking for this. I even told them that this is illegal under RERA. Uske baad bhi I received so many reminders. It was a little torturous. And I was on an office travel tabhi, one of my travels, tabhi karke, they sent me a physical letter iske baad. My parents received it and they were very, very scared. They didn't tell me then. They received it on the day I was to return. When I came back, they told me that such a letter has come.
The letter threatened that money is going to be lost.
Yes, and the agreement of sale is going to be cancelled. Whereas we had no agreement of sale really. There was no registered agreement of sale. All we had was that application form.
Correct.
So वो letter आया उसके बाद I think I got a escalation contact from Ms. Roshni's out of office email, which was her manager. So I reached out to him and he said that he will take care and he will help resolve all my queries. We got in touch. I gave him all the set of concerns that I already raised to Mr. Hardik and Ms. Roshni. He said, okay, I will give you a resolution, and he sent me a set of responses, following which, he said, you can come and discuss with me in the office. And I went to their BKC office where he sits, and we spent a nice 4.5 hours discussing only the first half of the agreement. That is all we could cover. On a weekday, I did this with an intention that, he's a sincere person, he's trying to resolve my concerns. 4.5 hours we spent, covered half the agreement.
When? In November?
This happens in October, end of October. He took all those points. A few of them, he tried to answer by email in the next couple of days, and then we decided that we will meet after Diwali because Diwali was just coming in a couple of days. So we said we'll meet after Diwali to discuss the second half. Whatever response he gave, I was not really satisfied with it. So I gave him a counter question, you do not really answer my questions, right? ये मेरा counter questions है. थोड़ी देर बाद उनका reply आया, stating that all the resolutions majorly were, this is already mentioned in RERA agreement, in the agreement uploaded on RERA. So I was like, ये तुम्हारा end में ये reply देने वाले हो, तो why am I spending so much of time and effort to discuss all these things with you?
Playing games.
They told me the land is clear title and there are 3 cases which it mentions in the draft agreement that are ongoing. So I told them कि ऐसा 3 cases चल रहा है. वो बोला नहीं cases तो resolve हो गया. Mr. Ayush told me cases are resolved. Let me check with the legal team and let you know. So then he checked with the legal team. He is like, okay, case चल रहा है, but it has no bearing on the building. So. And we are mentioning it only because it is a requirement it is a, disclosure requirement. करके इसीलिए we are mentioning in the agreement. So this means that अगर वो requirement नहीं होता तो वो लोग mention भी नहीं करते थे.
Yeah, exactly. Requirement नहीं होता था तो they would have not mentioned that there was a dispute.
Correct.
And what they are saying, you are expected to take them at their word. It is not necessary. You could ask them to provide you further information about the case. Because if I'm going to put money into it, I would not put my money in a land which is, under litigation. You put money into the flat. By extension, you put money in the land.
Exactly. Because conveyance, what they told me was conveyance will happen. So conveyance हुआ तो land is society, and I'm then shareholder in the society. So. Correct. Ultimately, I'm a shareholder in the land.
Correct.
So, conveyance का भी ये issue था कि they told होगा conveyance. अभी agreement में लिखा है कि conveyance or lease वो we will decide at the time of possession.
You will decide at the time of possession. क्या बात?
Yeah.
You have a right to have perfect clarity on an agreement before going in for signing it.
Right.
It is not only a right, actually it's a duty. You are duty bound to yourself to have complete clarity on each and every word of the agreement. And if you don't have a complete understanding or you are not completely in sync with it, even if there is only one line which you say should not, be there, then it's not an agreement. You are backing out of it, and with no cost. They can't start imposing costs on you.
And what they do is in that agreement, they take away all my rights. They say I will not raise objection to this, to that. There are hundreds of things which we can get into actually in that. But, I'll just say very delicately that they take away all my rights that apparently now I realize RERA gives me.
Yes. And, and before RERA came along, the Indian Contract Act in
Okay.
So all the RERA Act is an articulation of the legal framework which is already there.
Okay.
It's only an articulation specifically for real estate dealing, where you have allottee on one side, you have builder on the other side, also called promoter, and you have the flat. So they made a specific law, but the same conclusion could have been reached to Contract Act also. Agreement. The very meaning of the word agreement is that each and every word of it, you are in sync and the opposite party is in sync.
Correct.
So if you are not in agreement, if you are not in sync with each and every word, you can say, look, sorry, it is 99.99% fine, but that 1%, no, I do not accept this. Either you change it or I don't want it. This is your right. The law gives you the right. The Constitution gives you the right. Now, these guys try to take away that right from you and say, no, we will not change a word or a dot or a comma or a full stop. We will not change. Well, if you don't change, then there isn't an agreement. If it's not an agreement, give me back my money. Either you're married or you're not. It's a TikTok switch, on and off. One can go to the marriage mandap. There can be shehnais all around. Right before the Varmala exchange or the Sat Feras or something, you say, family says, stop. I don't get the right feel. I'm out. Boss, I have caused you so much loss. Sorry, I have also suffered loss.
Correct.
You internalize your loss. That's not my loss. Agreement होने का था नहीं हुआ. No, but we have paid stamp duty. किसने बोला था pay करने को? You can't load your business risks onto my shoulders. So either your agreement happens or it doesn't happen. The agreement does not happen means okay, give me back my money. That's it.
Correct.
That's it. That's the default position. Now these guys have gone and changed the default position. The moment you give the token, रोका सेरेमनी कर लिया तो शादी कर लिया, मुंह दिखाई और एंगेजमेंट और व्हाटएवर दे कॉल इट, सगाई, शादी हो गया. अरे सगाई इज नॉट शादी है, रोका इज नॉट शादी है, नथिंग इज शादी, ओनली शादी इज शादी. ओनली अग्रीमेंट इज अग्रीमेंट, नथिंग प्रायर टू अग्रीमेंट इज अग्रीमेंट. So these guys are just confusing the position.
So in the agreement में sir, it's like we owe you जितना square foot लिखा है उतना, बाकी everything is fluid. The position of your building,
everything is correct.
The floor, the amenities that come with it, everything is fluid. It is written like that.
So I'm going to give you a glass of छाछ. You have agreed to buy a glass of छाछ. अभी मैं छाछ में 100 ml कर्ड डालता हूँ या 250 ml कर्ड डालता हूँ, वो मेरे ऊपर है. ग्लास ऑफ छाछ, वाटर डाउन छाछ, बट इट इज स्टिल छाछ. एक चम्मच दही डाला, वो भी छाछ है. दिस इज हाउ दे गो अबाउट इट. बॉस, यू बॉट अ फ्लैट, उसको हम जितना भी डाइल्यूट कर सकते हैं करेंगे, हम करेंगे, सामने चल के करेंगे. एफएसआई इंक्रीज हो गया, तुम्हारा 35 फ्लोर्स विल बिकम 55 फ्लोर्स. ओके.
अरे सर, एफएसआई के बारे में सो ठीक है, तुम दिस इज लाइक अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन जब है तभी एफएसआई. उसके बाद आफ्टर गिविंग पोजेशन दे हैव अ क्लॉज व्हिच सेज कि पोजेशन के बाद, कन्वेंस और लीज के बाद भी जो एफएसआई अगर एक्स्ट्रा मिलता है कभी फ्यूचर में तो वो हमारा है, वो अपर सोसाइटी का नहीं.
सो दैट आल्सो अमाउंट्स टू अ डाइल्यूशन. दैट इज एक्चुअली अ डाइल्यूशन. दे विल से आपको सिर्फ अपने चार दीवारी से मतलब रखना है. Now don't
which I do not agree to, because conveyance होता है तो that land, I am a shareholder of that land and I want my rights and my voice over it.
Correct. And the FSI will then belong to you.
Correct.
If there is surplus FSI, that surplus FSI will belong to you through your society.
Yeah. So ये सब points of contention था मेरा. तो I told them कि ये तो resolution नहीं हुआ. All you've done is you've said already mentioned in the draft agreement uploaded on RERA.
Okay. So you wrote this in an email to these guys?
I told them, I wrote them and I told them कि ये तो बस मेरा part 1 का था. Part 2 का तो मेरे पास और भी concerns है, which we have not even reached to discussing. I listed a few in that email and told them that, given that ये मेरा experience रहा है April 1st से लेकर 3rd December, तो हमारा discussion चल रहा है and you have not been able to provide me any resolution. बहुत torturous, tumultuous and बहुत ही time consuming था ये मेरे लिए. I have a job to do and that is my bread and butter. It was getting affected with that, mentally I was so affected I was not able to concentrate on my job कि यार 14 लाख मेरा, it is my life savings. It is my own savings and I am a single person. मेरे लिए कोई खड़ा नहीं रहने वाला है कल को. I'm losing 14 lakhs is a huge trouble for me. I told them, please refund कर दो. I tried my best to, come to a agreement with you guys, discuss करके, but अभी कुछ बचा ही नहीं है. You are not ready to give me a proper resolution and कुछ trust बाकी बचा नहीं है, तो please refund me my amount करके. So this I told them in the first week of December.
Oh, okay. First week of December. Okay.
Yeah. There was no communication from their side. I kept multiple reminders gaya. Then suddenly on 23rd December, so I'll tell you the story here. I was told in November that 24 December को stamp duty चालान expire हो रहा है. तो आप उससे पहले register कर लो. So I told them कि बाबा, don't hold me to a date.
Correct.
Let us discuss. Let us come to a mutual agreement on the points. And then we can go on register. जब भी होता है करके. So 24 December was when the stamp duty was going to expire. 23rd December they sent me an email saying that आपने refund मांगा तो आपको cancellation चाहिए. इसका मतलब तो हम cancel कर रहे हैं. This is your cancellation letter. And in the cancellation letter they said कि this is the forfeited amount of 10%. उस पे ये GST, SGST, CGST, there is some third GST on it. And there is some interest on non-payment of the second installment that they've added. And करके they gave me a bill of around 4 lakhs कि अभी ये cancellation कर रहे हैं हम लोग and you owe me 4+ lakhs.
Say again?
They said
they are going to give you or?
No, I have to give them 4 lakhs.
Oh, so you cancel. They're going to take away all that amount. They're going to take away 14 lakhs and then you have to give them a further 4 lakhs.
Correct.
Oh, nice. Okay. Very nice. That also amounts to extortion. It is extortionate here. Some of this is plain white-collar crime.
Yeah.
I have seen the extortionate demand. I have seen builders later on buckle down to a more reasonable stance. Another builder, a guy called me. He has given them 24 lakhs. No agreement. And initially they said 24 lakhs ke upar he has to pay them another, I think, 3-4 lakhs. I forget the exact amount. And because he asked to cancel, so they said, give us more money. Well, no, he had been struggling. So he said already they had come down to one stamp. Which is out of his 24 lakhs, they are going to give him 12 lakhs.
Okay.
So he's like, boss, I'm going to leave 12 lakhs behind. So he was outraged. So he called me. So then that is when I pushed in a little bit. And after I pushed, his latest thing was, I think, yesterday or day before, he WhatsApped me saying they have now agreed to give 20 lakhs.
Okay.
Still 4 lakhs they are saying they will take away. So I asked him, boss, are you okay with it? I think you should get the entire amount, but then that's your call. His thing is, अरे मैं और लड़ूंगा और 1 साल लग जाएगा, उससे बेहतर है कि I should take my 20 lakhs. Whatever.
नहीं, but वो 4 लाख क्यों लेने का ना हम लोग को?
क्यों देने का? I totally agree. कुछ नहीं देने का. पूरा everything should come back to you because you have not made any mistake in the transaction. If they gave money out to stamp duty and they suffered a loss, well, boss, be more careful next time. That's your loss. You made the loss. It's not a loss which I have to reimburse you for. And this whole idea of you have to give them a further amount is extortionate, unreasonable, unlawful. It's just ridiculous.
So they've asked me to pay them 3,52,921 rupees.
Ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. झगड़ा करके लेना पड़ेगा. झगड़ा करके.
I'm totally, and they're like, now you will not claim any right, title, interest. And इसके पहले ही मेरा few days ago only, 15 December को, I had a WhatsApp chat with Mr. Ayush here, saying that abhi bhi, if you are ready to resolve those issues, we can have a way out. And you are kind of pushing me towards asking you for a refund. It's not like
send me that letter.
Okay.
Where they have asked you for more money. Just share that letter. Forward that. In fact, forward your entire correspondence to me. Let me take a look.
Sure. I'll do that.
It's interesting that you have been asking for clarity on agreement, and they have been. It's basically like a very abusive relationship.
There was something about open space that I asked. They are devoid on some open space. I'm like, what is open space and why are you devoid of it? Or इसका क्या implications है? मुझे कुछ तो समझाओ. So all they have to tell me is this is required to be mentioned. इसीलिए we are mentioning. There is no explanation that they're trying to give me. I really feel uncomfortable in those situations.
Yeah. This is their standard operating procedure. The sales guys don't disclose anything of meaning. Their entire sales pitch is based on so and so is the location and we are a prime location and every builder says he's a prime location. And the honeymoon ends when you give them the booking amount. That's when the honeymoon is over. After that, you enter into a very abusive relationship where it simply is gimme. Yeah. Give me more. And as for your concerns, भाई हमको सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है.
हमको सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है. हम वही करेंगे जो हमको करना है right from the start, I think.
Right. So it's a very con man way of doing things, but that's unfortunately the state of the entire real estate industry. I keep telling people this. Because the moment you go into a sales office and you are in danger of swiping, you swipe, you are in trouble. You give the booking amount, large amount of money, you are really in trouble. Don't do it. फिर लड़ झगड़ के वापस लेना पड़ता है. Now the law is on your side. There are RERA orders. Okay, let me just read you that RERA order. I'm very fond of sending this RERA order and this appellate authority order. It's there on my desktop. And these are my two favorite documents. The RERA order, it has been reasoned beautifully, and it's not a new one either. Okay, it's quite old. It's 2018. So the order says there is no provision in the Act to forfeit the booking amount or a part thereof in case the parties do not sign the agreement. A plain reading of clause number 18 of the model form of agreement, blah blah blah, makes it clear that if the parties fail to sign the agreement, the entire money paid by the allottees, including the booking amount, has to be returned to them without any interest. If the parties, is this clear? If the parties fail to sign the agreement, the entire money paid by the allottees, including the booking amount, has to be returned to them without any interest. Okay. Now, there is also an appellate order. Now, this is uploaded on Live Law. And here's what the appellate authority says. Allottees cannot be restrained from exercising their right of withdrawing the request. Okay. And it's almost the same as your case. So, paragraph 11 of this order says, it cannot be ignored that agreement for sale between allottees and promoters has not yet taken place yet. Moreover, promoter has neither issued confirmation letter nor allotment letter to the allottees. Promoter has neither issued confirmation letter nor allotment letter to the allottee. The only document signed by the allottees is the printed form which is styled as request for reservation. Okay. So at the time of making request for reservation of the flat on the part of allottees, promoter obtained the signature of allottees on such form of request, which consists of 33 different terms and conditions to be observed and complied by allottees only. Okay, so the terms and conditions, in this case there were 33. I don't know how many are there in your case. But to be observed and complied by allottees only, this paragraph points out.
There are 43 for mine.
Okay, so these terms and conditions are to be observed and complied by allottees only. As per clause 17, allottees have no right to withdraw their request for reservation. This is absolutely unfair and unreasonable and one-sided condition imposed on the allottees. I'll send you this order.
Okay.
It says, allottees cannot be restrained from exercising their right of withdrawing the request. Right to make request for reservation of flat includes the right to withdraw such request for reservation of flat.
Okay.
Clause 17 providing forfeiture of 10% amount of the total price of flat or the amount paid till date, whichever is less in case of withdrawal by allottees, is ex facie, means on the face of it, unreasonable, unfair and inequitable. Existence of such a condition in the printed form of request for reservation to be filed by allottees is against the object and purpose of RERA. He goes further to say, in fact, clause 17, which is that opposition clause in the application form. In fact, clause 17 being against the statute of RERA is not binding on the parties. So promoter is not entitled to forfeit any amount as per clause 17 of request form. Okay. Then they're reasoning it even further. They are saying, assuming for the sake of argument that the transaction between allottees and promoters is revealed from request form. See, what these guys try to say is, transaction has already happened. Their excuse for taking away your money is, transaction has already happened, and therefore you have to lose your money. Now, what the order argues is, assuming for the sake of argument that transaction between allottees and promoter is revealed from request form, which it is not. But suppose it is revealed. We would like to point out that such unreasonable and unfair transaction cannot be enforced. It quotes a Supreme Court order, a Supreme Court judgment, Pioneer Urban Land and Infrastructure versus Govindan Raghavan. It says that court will not enforce an unreasonable, unfair contract or an unreasonable, unfair clause in a contract where contracting parties are not equal in bargaining power and where a man has no choice, or rather a meaningful choice, but to give his assent to a contract or to sign on the dotted line in a prescribed or standard form. See, you have not written down that so-called application.
Correct. If I had the choice, I mean,
you would never.
I would have
You would never write these words. They have made you sign, and they have given you a prefabricated, a pre-drafted document, and they said sign here. You are not having any bargaining power at that point in time. So what they are saying is, see, they say in the instant clause while applying for the flat, allottees had no choice but to sign the printed form of request prepared one-sided by the promoter. The promoter cannot take undue advantage of such one-sided and unreasonable condition.
Yeah. So not only this, we don't have a booking form. This is an application form apparently. Yeah. And that has all these conditions which are one-sided.
It is an application form and it is only binding on you. All the conditions are on you.
Right.
So they have prepared it. Now, I'll give you one more thing. For it to be any kind of a transaction, okay, it has to be signed on both sides. On your side, you have signed. On their side, is it signed by a sales representative?
It is signed by their sales manager, yes.
However, a sales manager is not an authorized representative of the company. The company has to, for it to be a contract, the deal is not between you and the sales guys. The deal is between you and a company, a corporate person. And therefore, the corporate person's authorized representative has to sign. Authorized representative means that person has to be authorized by the board of directors expressly that this guy will sign on our behalf.
Okay.
Then it has some hope of being a contract. Even then it is not a contract. It does not reveal a transaction.
Okay.
So even the barest minimum elements of contract is not there. Okay, now I'll tell you one more thing. I'm not seeing your application form, but I'm guessing that it's on their letterhead.
Yes, it is on their letterhead. Atmosphere
now
is
you, Komal Ved, you are making an application to this company.
Yeah.
Then will it be on your letterhead or will it be on their letterhead?
Yeah.
If you are making an application, if you are writing a letter saying on my bended knees, I request you to please give me a flat. नहीं तो मैं बिना घर के पता नहीं क्या करूंगी. If you were to do that and you were to write this abject application, would it be on your letterhead or their letterhead?
Yeah, if I'm putting an application, it will be under mine.
Your letterhead. So why is it on their letterhead?
I don't know.
So for multiple reasons, I mean, it is bad in law. It is a fraudulent document. So, and RERA has been super clear on it. So they said whatever amount. So what is the final word of RERA? The RERA appellate authority in this. So whatever amount is paid by the home buyer to the promoter should be refunded by the allottee on his withdrawal from the project. Finished. Finished.
Yes.
That's it.
I don't know. I mean, with this status, what do I do now? I'm like...
See, you will have to... So the law is very clear. Law is on your side. Okay? Law is on your side. Now you write them a letter. Lucidly explaining the law to them. I know that they probably know the law already. लेकिन क्या करे, करना पड़ता है. Explain the law to them. Tell them, Baba, look at this RERA order. Look at this thing. I am making you aware of the law. And otherwise, well, if we are forced to go before a proper authority, where we can show that you are acting in dereliction and knowing dereliction, यानी हमने तुमको inform किया, हमने तुमको evidence दिया, उसके बाद भी तुम कुछ गलत करने को ही निकले हो, तो then exemplary punishment will be required.
नहीं, उनका हैबिट है ना, वो डिमांडिंग दी नेक्स्ट 10%, तो टोटल 20% डिमांड करना. उनको मल्टीपल बार रिमाइंड किया कि रेरा में इलीगल है, उसके बाद भी दे केप्ट. जो उनका हैबिट है कि
then exemplary punishment shall follow. We will have to really throw the book at you. Please don't do it. प्यार से अभी समझा रहे हैं. The law is in your favor, but you know what happens with these guys? Basically, your money is sitting in their bank account currently.
True.
So because your money is sitting in their bank account, they have possession of your money.
Correct.
Now, possession and ownership are two different things. But they have possession. So उनको लगता है now they are going to start arguing for ownership. There's always this feeling ना कि वो मेरे घर में है तो मेरा है. It is a bit like your car is parked in their garage and now they are trying to say it is their car. No, but you caused us so much loss. हमारा ये खर्चे का भरपाई करो, उसका भरपाई करो. So it's completely unlawful. It's ridiculous. You'll have to fight and take it back. झगड़ा करना पड़ेगा, करेंगे. लड़ झगड़ के वापस लेना पड़ता है इसको.
Sure thing. I mean,
and public should know. Public should know. Atmosphere में booking किया तो क्या होता है.
There is no explanation. I mean, तुम वो GST मांग रहा है उसके ऊपर. SGST होता है, CGST होता है, तीसरा कुछ component is billed GST. I don't know what it is. चौथा है they're putting interest that I have to pay on the second installment.
Interest for what? As if you have taken a loan. Are you a debtor? You're not a debtor. You have not entered into a transaction with them. You're not committed to pay their money. You're not getting a flat. So interest for what? If you have taken their money, if their money is sitting in your account, तो interest देने का होता है. Now your money is sitting in their account, and they are saying they are charging you interest. For what? So ये सब imaginary.
ये इसके बाद I have a mail from Mr. Aisha saying that वो जो भी deadline था ना payment of second installment वो extend कर देंगे. उसके बाद भी they are applying this interest. God knows what reason.
ऐसा है, in the good old days, when I grew up, there used to be these old Hindi movies where the landlord, zamindar, takes away the land of the poor laborers, a small patch of land. The way he does it is, उसको कर्जे में डुबा दो. अभी कर्जे में डुबाने का मतलब that guy will say, boss, actually I have repaid you. लेकिन हिसाब किताब किसके पास होता है? So there is a villain. The villain is the landlord. His name is Singania or Tukral or something like that. Now there is a Mehta ji who is a stooge. The stooge always carries this red chopra.
Okay.
वो बही खाता जिसको बोलते हैं, ओल्ड फैशन हिसाब किताब. That guy will show. Mangu, idhar aao, Manguram. That guy sits and squats in front of him. देखो तुमने इधर अंगूठा लगाया था, साहिब जी मैंने लगाया था. अभी देखो तुम्हारा हिसाब किताब ऐसा है. Now Manguram, poor fellow, is helpless because वो हिसाब किताब ही इसने लिखा है, मेहता जी ने लिखा है. So वो जो भी लिखता है, जैसे भी लिखता है, ultimately it is his power. And so this kind of interest, and interest for what? Interest for what? पैसा मेरा वापस देने का है, तुम बोल रहे हो interest on what? As if I have taken a loan from you. Where is that loan? What? As if I owe you money? Interest on what? मतलब ये हिसाब किताब घुमाने का काम है. It's a Nigerian scam type activity. Criminals, लेकिन क्या करें? ये टाइप के प्रैक्टिसेस हमारे बिल्डर्स करते हैं, बड़े बड़े नामचीन बिल्डर्स करते हैं. ठीक है.
Yeah, it is a big lesson that all these reputed builders, I find that they're not really that reputed. It seems the transactions are not going to be that well with them.
Send me all your emails and all that. Let me take a look at it, and let's give the public something to think about. In the meanwhile, of course, draft that letter.
Sure thing. Please share with me the judgments and the
order.
RERA rule that there's a RERA rule also you read, no?
Yeah. I'll send you the two things.
Please send this.
Yeah, I'll send you that. So you try to educate them and see if they will give you back your money. Okay?
Yes.
Chalo, take care.
Okay, sir.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.